Monday, July 17, 1995. 6:42 a.m. Mangalore, Karnataka, India. The first thing your life knows is humidity. The monsoon has wrapped the city in heavy rain, turning roads into mirrors and rooftops into drums. Ceiling fans spin above crowded hospital rooms while distant temple bells compete with the sound of thunder. India is changing faster than anyone realizes. Economic reforms have begun reshaping the country. Cable television is quietly entering living rooms, and millions of families are wondering whether tomorrow might finally be better than yesterday. You arrive without understanding any of it, wrapped in a thin hospital blanket, while the future waits patiently outside the window. Your earliest memories are not events, but sensations. The cool touch of red oxide floors beneath your feet, the smell of coconut oil in your hair every Sunday morning, pressure cookers whistling before sunrise, mosquito coils glowing faintly at night, the distant call of vegetable vendors pushing wooden carts through narrow streets. Life feels enormous, even though your world is only a few rooms wide. Every adult appears to know exactly how the world works. Every festival seems older than time itself. Every summer afternoon feels endless. Electricity disappears often enough that nobody panics anymore. The ceiling fan slows to a stop, and the entire neighborhood quietly steps outside to wait. Children invent games beneath streetlights powered by backup generators. Adults exchange stories across balconies. Grandparents describe a country that looked completely different before you were born. You don't know it yet, but these interruptions are creating something future generations will rarely experience: the habit of finding entertainment without a screen.
School begins with oversized uniforms and shoes that always seem one size too large. Your backpack weighs almost as much as you do. Morning assemblies teach discipline before mathematics ever teaches numbers. You memorize multiplication tables loud enough to echo across classrooms. Report cards become tiny documents carrying enormous emotional weight. Every examination feels like a decision about your future, even before you understand what a career actually means. The world inside your classroom changes slowly, but the world outside changes almost overnight. Cable television arrives with dozens of channels where there once were only a few. Cartoon characters suddenly speak every afternoon instead of only on weekends. Cricket matches become national events, capable of emptying streets. Advertisements introduce products your parents never grew up with. Global culture quietly enters Indian homes through a television no thicker than a suitcase. Computers remain mysterious machines sitting inside special school laboratories. Students remove their shoes before entering. Monitors glow with bulky backs. Keyboards click loudly, and every lesson begins with learning not to touch anything unless instructed. The mouse feels unfamiliar. The internet sounds like science fiction. Nobody imagines that one day every pocket will contain something thousands of times more powerful. Family gatherings remain life's true social network. Weddings unite relatives you only recognize from old photographs. Grandparents remember everyone's birthdays without calendars.
Meals stretch for hours because conversation matters more than schedules. Every celebration reminds you that identity is something shared rather than carried alone. Then the year 2000 arrives, carrying excitement that adults barely understand themselves. Newspapers discuss the new millennium as though history has restarted. Calendars suddenly display numbers that seem futuristic. Your parents quietly wonder what kind of country you will inherit. By the time you reach middle school, India is changing faster than anyone can fully explain. Internet cafes appear on busy streets with handwritten signs promising access to the entire world. Owning an email address sounds almost as important as owning a house. Dial-up tones become the sound of possibility. Mobile phones slowly replace handwritten phone numbers taped beside home telephones. Text messages begin replacing long conversations.
Music begins traveling inside tiny pocket-sized devices instead of shelves filled with cassette tapes. Your generation grows up watching analog life quietly transform into a digital future. Without realizing it, you become the bridge between two completely different worlds. Secondary school introduces expectations that feel heavier than your backpack ever did. Teachers begin discussing board examinations years before they actually arrive. Coaching centers begin appearing on nearly every busy street. Academic competition quietly becomes part of everyday life. Childhood begins slipping quietly into adolescence. The first social networking websites quietly begin reshaping teenage friendships. Profile photographs become the first impression people see before meeting you. Friendships slowly expand beyond neighborhoods into the digital world. The city becomes noisier, faster, and more connected every single year. The future no longer feels distant. It feels like it is already arriving.
By 2010, nearly every conversation about the future somehow includes engineering, medicine, or government service. Entrance examinations begin shaping daily routines long before adulthood arrives. Every report card suddenly feels like a prediction of your entire future. Parents quietly sacrifice comfort so opportunities remain available for you. For the first time, adulthood stops feeling like a distant idea and starts feeling unavoidable. By 2011, smartphones begin appearing in classrooms, but only a handful of students own one. Most families still share a single desktop computer at home. The internet stops feeling like a destination and starts becoming part of everyday life. The world suddenly feels smaller than it ever did during childhood. You are growing up at exactly the same speed as modern India itself. By 2012, your final years of school begin with countdowns instead of fresh starts. Every classroom wall seems covered with motivational quotes and examination schedules. Weekends slowly disappear beneath stacks of revision books and practice papers. Every passing month feels noticeably faster than the last. For the first time, childhood feels like something that already belongs to history. The final school year begins with the understanding that every decision now feels permanent.
Conversations shift from childhood dreams to university admissions and future careers. Your city now looks completely different from the one you were born into. The India of your childhood now exists mostly inside family albums and fading memories. Without realizing it, you have witnessed one of the fastest transformations any generation has ever experienced.